But now it's awake. And I need help.
Star Wars Episode 9, The Rise of Skywalker, is directed by J.J. Abrams and is the final chapter to the Skywalker saga. So guys, this was a big one. This is the ending to the Skywalker saga that I have grown up with and have loved and have adored and has just changed the way I view movies and has been just so important to me in my life. And it's amazing. It's emotional. And I can't wait to talk about it. Now I want to talk about J.J. Abrams as a director. The guy, he gets film. He understands how to shoot a film. He knows cinematography. He does a great job in all of those departments. The one thing that I don't like about J.J. Abrams is he seems to be a very predictable director. And he's good at that in his own respect, but that could be a real problem, especially coming into this final chapter. And there are a lot of things in this film that people are going to call predictable. Yes, in a way, but this film didn't do anything that I thought it would do, if that makes sense. And I'm blown away by it. I really, really am. I think that this is one of the best Star Wars films ever. I think that J.J. Abrams did a fantastic job wrapping up the Skywalker saga. And I know people are going to disagree. It really does take all 9 films and put it into one thing. This is the culmination of all 9 stories. And it's so good. It does finish up the Skywalker saga in a big way. In order to explain my take on that, I would have to get into some very big spoilers, and I'm not going to do that. I'm just not yet, anyway, and I probably will do a spoiler review for this film, because I'm so excited to talk about it with all of you guys, and this is just a big deal for me. I love Star Wars. Star Wars is... it's like a religion at this point for me. And this is an extraordinary film. And I think the people that are casual Star Wars fans and not hardcore fans kind of get the edge on this one because they're not as attached and they don't have these high expectations and they don't know how things are going to be or how things are supposed to go and all this sort of thing. And go have fun with this movie. I mean, even if you are a hardcore fan, I am, and I had a great time with this film. I saw it with a ton of friends who actually have been down on Star Wars. They just have been pleased with what they've been getting, and they walked out loving this movie. I haven't talked to a single friend that has not loved this movie. This film is full of surprises. It's going to take a very, very long time to analyze all the different layers that are in it. It's a lot of movie in a great way. There are a lot of things that you just don't expect. There are a lot of things that are very thrilling. There are a lot of things that are very emotional. You have so many different emotions going through your head. I can understand why somebody doesn't know how to take it the first time around seeing it. I do recommend people see this movie at least 3 or 4 times. I mean, I'm serious. I've seen it 3 times now, and I just came up with how I'm going to grade it. Because there's just so much going on in this movie in a great way, and your emotions are just somewhere else by the time you're out of this film. I have spoken to some of the most casual fans that there are, and even they have a lot of emotions about this finale, and they really feel like it wrecked them in a great way, I guess. And this is one of those films. This is one of those times that you just don't know how to feel, but you know that you have a lot of joy about how things ended up. And there are just so many things, so many reveals, and you're just like, whoa. And you're entertained the entire time, and it's just fantastic. Now, while this film is a finale to the Skywalker saga, it also has to be its own movie, and it definitely succeeds at that. It's very much about the adventure that Rey, Finn, and Poe have to go on, and it also furthers each one of those characters in a great way. And on the other side of that, we have Kylo Ren, who is the villain at this point. He is the supreme leader by the time we get into this film. And we have to see where that story goes, and that also goes places as well. Very big places. And I loved the way that each character's story went, and it all just made so much sense to the entire saga. And I think that it works in a big way, and oh my gosh, my my heart just couldn't take it, you know what I mean, at the time. And it was just something that was epic. And man, this is a movie you need to see, plain and simple. This film is edited so well, it is paced magnificently. I think that this movie from beginning to end is so damn entertaining, and it moves so quick, which is another reason that you have a hard time wrapping your head around a lot of things, is because of the pacing of the movie. But it's a good thing, believe me. It really works in classic J.J. Abrams fashion. This film is paced so fast, and it speeds by you, and it's a 2.5-hour movie, and it feels like 5 minutes. I have really enjoyed Daisy Ridley's performance as Rey in each one of these films. I think that this is her best. I think that she gave something incredible and brought something incredible to the film. I think that what her character goes through in this one is so much beyond what she has in the past, and I think that she did a great job with the emotional stuff, the darker stuff, and everything that she had to do, the powerful stuff. Just, she is so powerful. Her performance is incredible. I can't praise her performance enough. It is one of my favorite performances of the entire year. Daisy Ridley did a phenomenal job. Adam Driver is once again fantastic as Kylo Ren. I mean, he did something emotional in this film as well, and gave a very emotional performance. And it's what you expect from him, but he is once again great and perfect from this character. And there is something at the end where he gets to really kind of show his range within this character, and that was a lot of fun to see from him. And I think he did a great job in this film. Casting all around is great. Oscar Isaac really knocked it out of the park as Poe. And, you know, I even liked Kelly Marie Tran as Rose for the time that we had her. And I really thought that John Boyega really kind of got his due when it came to the character of Finn. I mean, he just had a lot more in this film than he has in the past. And I liked seeing him tinker with this character a lot more. Now let's address the elephant in the room, which is Ian McDiarmid coming back to play Emperor Palpatine. And we know Emperor Palpatine's back in this movie. Some people are not going to like the explanation that they give in this film, but I will say, my fear going in was that they were going to over-explain how Palpatine has returned. And they did pretty much the complete opposite of that. In the sense that they really didn't over-explain it. They just gave a small explanation that made sense, and I was like, thank God it doesn't have to be this big, long, you know, convoluted thing. It's a quick explanation, and it works for me, and I was very happy with it. And they also explained things very well, that kind of makes the other films make sense that came before this, and you know, these are questions that have been on our mind for ages. And you know, not everything is demystified, because Star Wars should always kind of have that sense of wonder when walking out of one of these films, but most things are answered in a very cool way. Unfortunately, this movie does have a couple flaws. I was not a big fan of some of the, you know, plot conveniences that were thrown into the story. They just seemed a little too easy. Even though I appreciated that this was trying to be kind of that classic Indiana Jones adventure where there were plot conveniences, but some of them were just too damn easy for me, and I didn't really enjoy that about it. So, you know, kind of a minor thing, but, you know, still bothered me upon each subsequent viewing of the film, and I, you know, wish it wasn't that way, but it just did, and I can't really let that one go. But again, it doesn't ruin the pacing or anything. It's just something with the story that I just genuinely didn't enjoy. It just seemed a little lazy. There's one plot hole in this film too that kind of bothers me, kind of doesn't. It just feels like uneven in a way, like the way that it's thrown in there. It's not the fact that it is a plot hole, it's just the way that the plot hole's kind of shoehorned in. It's the execution of it. And I understood it was kind of this thing that you got to interpret it for yourself, but it was shoehorned in. And I didn't enjoy the execution of that. And that is my other big gripe with the film. I think the comedy works just about every time in this film. I really loved Kerry Russell in this film. She comes in and plays a character named Zoe Bliss, who's very, very cool. And we get another little drunk character named Babu Freak, and he's a lot of fun. And I enjoyed these two characters, and I especially like what Zoe Bliss did for the character of Poe in this film. I think those two together had great chemistry on screen. There's another character named Jana, and she's really great as well, and she does a lot for the character of Pitt. And I just felt like the chemistry all around for the actors still remained and was great and just awesome, and wow. Anything in this film involving a lightsaber was some of the best lightsaber stuff I've ever seen, in all honesty. It was incredible and epic and great and everything you'd want from lightsaber scenes. Nothing quite as awesome as the throne room scene in Star Wars Episode 8 The Last Jedi, or the Anakin Obi-Wan fight, or the Luke Vader fight in Empire Strikes Back. But still, it is some of the best lightsaber stuff I've ever seen, some of the most entertaining lightsaber sequences I've ever seen, and the big epic lightsaber scene is just going to be a little bit different than you might be expecting it to be, and I'll just let you know that right away, without giving too much away. John Williams just outdid himself with the score this time around. I know that some people don't think that it's as iconic as it once was, but the fact is the scores weren't iconic when you heard them. They became iconic over time. I actually really loved the soundtrack this time around. I think it is probably the strongest out of all of the soundtracks in this latest trilogy, but not the best in the Skywalker saga by any means. But he definitely brought back some old themes, and I loved how he tied them in with giving them a little bit of a new edge to them, and that was really nice to hear. And I thought the music played perfectly throughout the film. He definitely did what he needed to do, and then some, for the themes in this film. And I thought it was very, very nice to hear. And John Williams is a mastermind, and it got me emotional at times. And this is the final Star Wars film that he is doing the music for. So, yeah, very emotional in a lot of ways. This is also the last Star Wars film that Carrie Fisher will be appearing in as Leia. To my knowledge, anyway, they had to unfortunately take footage from The Force Awakens and The Last Jedi and use that to give her scenes in this film. And the way that they played in this film was so freaking seamless. I have no idea how they managed to pull it off while, working it into the story at hand. Even though these scenes were shot way before, it was almost like they were meant to be, and it was something very beautiful, and I loved what they did with her character in this. And, they gave us quite the payoff to the character of Leia, and they gave us some really emotional stuff with her. And, yeah, I got to say goodbye to Princess Leia, and it was sad, but they did it right, and I love the execution of it. I loved that this film also took us to some new planets and new locations that we hadn't seen before, and yeah, and on those new locations, it definitely furthers stuff that we know from the prior Star Wars films. And man, I love this movie. It was just so much fun. It's definitely one of the most rewatchable Star Wars films ever, and the space adventure about it just kind of reminded me of some of the classic Star Wars in a lot of ways, with it being its own thing, and it stands on its own, and that was what I needed to do. And it also wraps up all 9 films very, very well, and I cannot believe that this is the end, but it is the end. And yeah, I almost have no words. I'm still kind of speechless about the film. It's just, it's special to me, you know, because of how much I love Star Wars, and I could be biased on that, but this film, it still works genuinely as a film, not just a Star Wars film. It's very, very well made, and just so great. And one more thing is Billy D. Williams was awesome as Lando. He did a lot more in this movie than I probably could have ever hoped for or asked, and man, it was just so cool to see. I love Billy D. Williams, and I appreciate that he came back for this to reprise his role as Lando, and I love the character of Lando Calrissian. I always have, and it was very special to me. Alright guys, so that is my review for Star Wars Episode 9, The Rise of Skywalker. At the end, it kind of did have some flaws to it, but overall, this is a phenomenal Star Wars film. I've been very happy so far with what Disney has given us with Star Wars, and this is amongst their best work, in my opinion, and I'm so glad that we got it, and it really does feel like the finale to the entire Skywalker saga. So I definitely recommend watching it and seeing it, and it is the culmination of everything that Star Wars is, and everything Star Wars needs to be. And it's amazing, it's beautiful, a beautiful story. And I was so happy to see where they took the characters of Rey and Kylo Ren. They have some great stuff in this film. I love their chemistry on screen together. Daisy Ridley and Adam Driver work together so well, and they always have. And that's really all I got. I'm going to give Star Wars Episode 9, The Rise of Skywalker, an A. Guys, thank you for tuning into my review for Star Wars Episode 9, The Rise of Skywalker. I do plan on doing a spoiler review for this one, so look out for that. And I will also be leaving my Twitter and Instagram in the description below, so be sure to follow me there. Hit that like button below, hit the subscribe button below. I appreciate that very much, and please be sure to leave some feedback in the comment section. I appreciate that a lot too. Be nice to me, please, and just keep supporting the channel, keep viewing, man, it really helps, and I appreciate that very much. And this has been my review of Star Wars Episode 9, The Rise of Skywalker. I have been Don Martino, and I thank you guys for tuning in, and I'll see you next time.
Take a few minutes for the Navi computer to calculate the coordinates.
A few minutes? Are you kidding? At the rate they're gaining?
No, what is it? You have to shoot this. Traveling through hyperspace is like Dustin Crop's kid. Without precise calculations, we fly too close to a store. They're bounce into a supermarket and then...
Yeah.
It'd be a hell of a mess.
What's that?
Watch. We're gonna lose your deflector shields. Go strap yourselves in. Be careful on the way out.
Yeah, sure. I'm taking it very cautiously.
You... Go away!
Bounce too near a supermarket?